Oh my goodness. All right, folks. We're going to continue on the conversation. Booked and busy, what it takes to be repped. Welcome to the stage, Humberto Petit, Naeemah Lafond, and Sir John.
Guys, I would be remiss if I didn't immediately introduce my panel of beautiful, talented, creations and creatures. This is the beautiful Naeemah, and she's an amazing artist, amazing makeup artist. Can I just give you a little shout out that you just won? Can you tell us what happened about a few days ago, please?
I won an AHA award.
She won an AHA award. And so, guys, an AHA award, for those of you guys who don't know, it's like an Oscar or an Emmy for makeup, or hair. Hair. I'm sorry. And so, were you shocked and floored when you found out or you got the call?
Yes, because I've been an editorial hairstylist for about 23 years.
Yes.
Come up with Romero and all these guys.
Yeah.
And so to be honored by my peers was just...
Amazing. Okay, and then we have Mr. Humberto Petit, who is WME Fashion, and also, guys, he handles my career as well and beauty. This man needs no introduction, but I just wanted to shout him out really quickly as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so this whole conversation about it's called being booked and busy, right? So being booked and busy, what does it take to be repped? And we say representation. What does representation look like? We're going to unpack it all. And also there's stages of it. And so we want to talk about the stages. We want to talk about the journey. And so one of the first questions I have is like, when you think about representation, when did you know? When did you know it was time to actually go for representation? And you've been a hairstylist for years now, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen a shift. And so before YouTube, before TikTok, before Instagram, right? When did you know? How did you know?
Well, I didn't know until I was told. My mentor, Crystal Wright.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to Crystal Wright. She's I feel like a gem in the industry that doesn't get enough of her flowers.
Absolutely right.
But I went to a Crystal Wright seminar in 2005. Started in 2003, just doing test shoots. And I went to her seminar in 2005, and she talked about being represented. I had no idea what that even meant. Like, what is an agent? What do you get out of that? What does that even mean? And once she explained that to me, I was like, wow, okay, I do need to get an agent. And then I sought out, what are the best agencies? Where should I start? I started off by building my book.
Yes.
So back in the day, we had to have an actual book.
Mm-hmm. It was a thing.
Leather-bound book. Each picture was $5 to print out. It was a whole experience to literally build that portfolio.
Yes.
So I got a meeting with an agency, mine just 2005, 2006. And I took my book, went on the bus to go to this meeting. I get off the bus and left the book on the bus.
Oh. It was expensive.
I left the book on the bus. And I was in tears. I was hysterical over that. I couldn't believe I had made such a huge mistake.
Wow.
And it really shifted the entire trajectory of my career, because honestly at the time I didn't have the money to rebuild that book, to buy all those photos back, to buy that binder back.
Right.
So I had to just start from scratch, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take a minute, and I'm gonna go work in a salon. But that job in the salon led me to being the international educator that I am.
Wow.
Come on. Wow. So it happened for you, not to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'll just tell you a little bit. So guys, you guys know I'm a makeup artist as well, right? When I say as well, I'm sorry, hair and makeup, peanut butter and jelly, right? So for me, when did I know that I needed to be represented? I had an idea that I needed a company or people, someone to advocate for me in a way I couldn't advocate for myself. So that was the biggest thing for me. Is like, can I get into a room that I can't get myself into? You know, you could tell I talk a lot. I'm a talker and I love people. So, but I needed someone to be able to help package, you know, and direct some of the gift. And also, this is during the video. Everyone was doing music videos, and I was like, well, I'm assisting Charlotte Tilbury, assisting Pat McGrath at the time, and I didn't want to do music videos because I didn't want to pigeonhole myself technically, because I knew I would be attached to just that. And also, I have a unique name. I just knew if I do this, I'm going to make money now, but I'm not going to necessarily have the career I wanted to. So I was poor in my 20s because I was assisting in fashion, and then after assisting, I'm so serious. So I started to do makeup in a strip club in Queens. Everyone knows that. But I got permission from Pat McGrath. I had to get her permission to go to Streeters, which was the same agency she was on. So I was really the only other black person at Streeters at the time besides Pat McGrath. Boom. And so my friend, Humberto, tell me this. So when you think about if someone needs advocating for, you know, how do we necessarily know that they don't necessarily just need someone to send out great emails and invoices? How do you know that career is robust enough that it needs representation?
I think robust enough that it needs. I think most artists can absolutely advocate for themselves, but I think having an agent there to sort of let a client know why you deserve to get $10,000 a day plus 20% makes more sense, right? We can fight for you, we can show the work, and I think it's hard for some artists to sort of fight for themselves in that way. And a lot of clients will take advantage of you, and they will try to get you for super cheap. And that's why I think an agency does come in to play and is really necessary.
Yeah.
It's not absolutely necessary because you can't just get an agent, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You need to have the work. You need to be out there hustling. You need to be out there to be creative. You need to find different ways to create work so that you can have a portfolio of work to go to an agency. But yeah, it's hard out there, and I know, and I understand your battle when you were losing the book and
Right.
having to pay for those prints, and yeah.
I think often people don't understand like the true value of an agent when you don't have one. Like all of the invoicing and reaching out to people about your money, negotiating, it's a lot to do. And also like you don't really realize your worth because you're you. Like, you know, you don't really see what everyone else sees. And it's when I got an agent at the Wall Group, Alexia, shout out to her wherever she is.
Is Alexis here?
Where I'm like, I'm worth what? You know, it's like, wait, that's like how much my day rate is.
Wow.
Like, it took, you know, her being on my team for me to even realize that, because us on our own, you know, we're just kind of going by word of mouth, what other people tell us things cost, you know, what a rate should be. But they have more resources, connections, all these things that are valuable in helping you understand what your true value is.
Yeah.
And that justifies the 20% that
Period.
we
Exactly.
tag on to, because the accounting, the marketing, the asset creation when we're putting the books together, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
And
the
chasing
things that you don't have to
clients.
think about because you have this person on your team are, for me, invaluable.
Yeah.
I have a question for both of you. So when you really think about a lot of us, I always tell younger makeup artists or hairstylists, never ask for your money or your rate or things yourself. Always have someone else do it. Even before you get to an agency, have a cousin who you like. If you like, they could be an accountant. They could be, a CPA. But if you like how they write emails, they can invoice for you, because we are attached to a number in an emotional way. So if we think someone doesn't want to pay our day rate, we go to work, we're hurt. And we need that separation. Do you feel that even if you don't get to the big agency yet, would you advocate for people to find someone?
I do. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you don't have someone, you have to step in for yourself. But, it makes sense that your sister, cousin, brother, mom would be in there and fighting for you to get that rate, because you are emotionally connected to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're an artist.
Even if you're not emotionally connected, you can just be more of like a shy person who feels uncomfortable saying the thing. And that definitely was me. When I would talk to Crystal, she's like, you said what? You need to say this and say it like this. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, And so now I don't have to do that. thank God, because that's just not my energy. But like you said, to have someone there that can be that vocal person for you, that can push for things that you don't have the guts to push for, is great.
Wow.
And you can focus on the creative.
Yes.
So Humberto, I have a question. When it comes to representation, you need some water, babe? Yeah. Hey guys, can I get two? Can we have two? Can I have one as well? Can we have two flat still waters if possible? Please. Thank you. So I was gonna ask. There we go. See, look at the Lord. Look at the Lord. Okay, because you're one of God's favorites. That's why. So no, I wanted to know. So Humberto, when you look at the landscape, we've left YouTube, and then YouTube turned into TikTok, and we look at there's so many different ways to do the thing now. Do you feel like agencies, when people are looking at the big agencies, we also kind of look at it as like Sony or Arista or music. Mm-hmm. What constitutes a great agency from sitting in the landscape that you're sitting in?
What constitutes a great agency, a talent agency?
A talent agency.
I think, it's not necessarily the agency, it's the agent, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't put the agency, I don't know, there are bad agents at good agencies. Mm-hmm. It really just depends. You have to talk. Your network has to be, you have to have people in your network that understand the landscape.
Yeah.
And I think your agent has to be someone that's out there pounding the pavement and thinking of different creative ways to create revenue for you. Mm-hmm. Those people that sit at the desk and wait for the phone to ring, those people, they shouldn't have that job. And they are putting people on the shelf, and those people are dying. It's just not good.
Right.
So yeah, it's really about the agent. It's not the agency.
Wow. Okay, so we know that we as artists need to have like skills or a skill set, but what else do you look for? So we know technically we have to be talented enough to do really great hair, makeup, or styling, but is there something else that you see or look for in the people that creates a great star or talent?
Personality.
Okay.
Being able to talk, being able to express yourself. You don't want to be on set with a client and they ask you for your opinion on something and you give it and they push back and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. They want someone that can advocate. You have to be able to articulate why you think this is what it should be, whether it be a liner or a certain piece of jewelry or hair that should be out of place because it looks more authentic. Back it up, speak up and don't be afraid to speak up, I know that sometimes when you're on advertising sets, there's creative and you have to follow the brief. But even in those times, you still have a point of view. So, and especially when you're doing an editorial, you're paying for that in most cases, because editorials don't make money. So make sure that you're getting your money's worth out of it.
Mm-hmm. Can I add to that? Yes. I think personality is definitely huge, but as coming into this world, getting an agent, looking for an agent, I always assumed that, I felt that a lot of the bigger artists, the ones with, the larger followings or the bigger celebrities were these huge personalities and so outgoing and the one in the room, work in the room talking to everyone. So I think I remember at my first meeting at the Wall Group, I was saying, I'm just not the girl that's going to be like the loudest one in the room and super hey, y'all, I'm here. That's just not me. So I just want to put that out there because that's just me. I can't change that. And they were like, no, that's a good thing. Yeah. Some clients want that. Some clients want you to not take up all the space and let them breathe and have the space. And that really helped me to realize that, not every client is for everyone and vice versa.
True.
You have the clients that work for you. And there are some clients that want you to be their girlfriend and go party with them afterwards and do all of that. That's just not me. But there are clients for me.
So true. Yeah. That's so true. Also, to your point, guys, is when you get to these places where you want to speak up, where you want to advocate for maybe this should be a different way, and I know we're going to unpack some of this later, I really feel like the hair should stay this way. Know your why. So we were listening to Danessa earlier talk about, thank you so much, love. Thank you very much. Oh, and there we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You got it. All right. Okay, cool. So know your why. So it's really, really good to be studied. And it's at any point in the game, there's no area when you can stop learning more, right? We always want to stay a white or dry sponge. You know, there's too much arrogance at the black belt level. Always want to stay a white belt so we can still keep learning. But if we have something to add to a conversation, we become a destination. So like study art, study references, like, you know, even if you don't understand arts, know fashion history, know styling history, know what happened that was iconic, you know, and each decade of the 20th century for hair, for makeup, for styling. When you have knowledge of not just our business, but are able to contribute to a conversation when stylist or photographer, and you're not just sitting in the corner, not having the agency within yourself to speak, you become really, really powerful, but also you become a source of, a serious source of safety for talent. When I say talent, celebrities or models who are known by their first names only, or even the photographers, they'll trust you again because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like being comfortable with collaboration and understanding that everything has its space, everything can breathe in the same room, and adding your point of view to something, even if it's the slightest thing. Just as a hairstylist, like we were talking about earlier on the panel, they were talking about just, you know, everything not being about the hair or about the makeup. But if you're good at what you do and you have your own point of view, a sleek ponytail can have your signature on it. Mm-hmm. And that's that.
So, so speaking about point of view, so when you, Humberto, when you are at an agency, because you also were at Streeters for a while, and so you kind of went around. You've seen different types of artists, you know, from fashion to a bit more celebrity and all in between. What does a point of view really mean? What does it mean when because we all keep, you know, referencing the point of view all day. We do because we're in it. What does it mean to you to understand that this person has a keen point of view?
I mean, it's an aesthetic, right? The person has a point of view. There's it's their thing, but maybe what you mean with point of view is more specific to each job, right? When you tackle a job, you're doing your homework. When you go on set for an editorial or an advertisement, you know, you want to understand what you're stepping in to do. You want to be prepped and ready, and you want to have a point of view. You want to know what you're there to do.
Yeah.
And if I'm hitting the right mark.
So, and even people who are if you're an influencer, that's still a point of view that people are tuning into, I assume, right?
They have the thing.
They have the thing, yeah. So, do you think is it a different thing?
An influencer, I feel like, you know, everybody has their specialty. I don't represent influencers, but I know that each of them does their own. They have their own aesthetic. They have their own specialty.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it could be similar.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it depends. Like, you know, if we're talking about a hairstylist having more of a known for more sculptural hairstyles, or that high ponytail that's just perfect, or, you know, yeah.
Okay. I got a question. So this is a little greasy. This is getting a little fiery, right? But when I say that, I mean, like, okay, so have you ever had to, like, and no one really wants to be, we never want to be let go, you know? None of us want to be let go from any place or any job. We want to walk away, hopefully, instead of being let go. But have you ever had to drop someone? And if you had to drop someone, can you illustrate a reason or two why? I'm sure, is it a difficult process? Has it been difficult?
Yeah, it's always hard because I mean, for me, one, I have abandonment issues. So I'm in a relationship with each of my artists, right? I hope I'm in a relationship. I want to know, love, want to hang out with my artists. We need to be friends because I need to know their life. I need to be able to speak to them being, you know, a family man or, you know, I don't know, whatever it might be, rock climber, whatever their things are, you should know about, because when you're talking to clients, you need to be able to sell it. So when I'm letting someone go, which I had to do recently, it was because this person was kicked off of a beauty campaign, and it was a 2-week beauty campaign, and this person was on some substance, and it was evident to the producer and to the, you know, and so that is a problem. And there are other times where the person, whoever the talent might be, just might be like really difficult to work with.
Okay.
It's a lot of that. Divos. And it makes it really hard when you don't have repeat. You work so hard to get this person work, get this person a client, and they go in and blow it up when it could have been someone paying them to do whatever monthly.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes my job very difficult. So I'd rather let you go and move on to someone that actually deserves to be there, wants to be there, and is talented.
Yeah. And so it's a business decision also, it seems like, at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to make, sound selfish, but we're not making money if you're blowing shit up.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, so when we think about the Wall Group, how long have you been there? A couple of years? 3 years.
3 years now.
So is the Wall, I guess a lot of people, inclusivity and D&I is not even a buzzword, it's a way of life, it's how we live, and we press up against institutions that don't reflect modern values. I hope we do. Can I get an amen? Is anybody here? So when you are, when you're there and at work, do you see that it's a concern of yours, or is how multicultural or how important is diversity and inclusion to the Wall Group, to the brand?
It's absolutely important. I mean, we need to have something for everyone. And, there have been horrible examples of people destroying people's hair, and it's just out of sort of ignorance. And I think Wall Group is really dedicated to making sure that there is representation and that we are able to offer something to everyone, for every type.
Yeah.
So.
I agree with that. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I reached out to the Wall Group for representation. Because when I was initially got back into the game and started looking for an agent, at every meeting I would hear, you need to change your book. It'll be like a yes, but you should either take out all of the Black models and be a stylist like this, or you need to be a Black hairstylist and only do the Black girls. And I was not interested in doing that because for my entire career, I was so intentional about my book being about hair, all girls. Like I would go out and seek the Keith Major photo shoot, the Itaisha Jordan photo shoot to get that beautiful Black model and put her in my book and curate it. Because they weren't getting booked for the campaign. So curate this campaign inside my book and make it this like multicultural, all faces, all beauties in this book. So when I get to the agencies and they're like, you need to pick one. And I was just like, no. And when my mentor, Crystal, was like, you actually need to be at the Wall Group. Reach out to them. Like as many times you need to email them, reach out. And I was so glad that I did because just looking at that roster, looking at, the work that they put out, it just felt more like me.
I felt that. And also, everything you said just now about, like, this happened to me, to all of us in the editorial industry. Before, like, celebrity and all that kind of stuff, they looked at our books and they judged our books based off of how many Black models were in the books. They would change and take out some of the greatest women of our time out of my portfolio for Eastern European models just so it can translate well.
Yeah.
I could translate well.
Right.
And that's trauma. That was some traumatic shit for me in my 20s.
Absolutely.
And so I started to have imposter syndrome when I was on set. Mm-hmm. Like, why am I here? It was a thing, and it starts to be a little bit of a psychological trigger, and it structurally is not good for your emotional state. Mm-hmm. So when we think about like fashion and these things, we have to also think about the mental health component, like we were talking about this morning, guys, of our why we're there, what we need to be there for, and what we are taking away from the job that no one can take away from us. I wanted to ask you, Humberto, when you think about, there's so many deals out there, right? And I'm thinking about like influencers and makeup artists and hairstylists and stylists. It's almost like athletes now. Like, when I think about it, I hate to use that parallel, or musicians, because there's so much corporate sponsorship and things that we didn't have 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So when you're thinking about talent that is able to not translate, or assimilate, you do not have to assimilate to popular culture, but you want them to represent brand. What are key factors in a sellable talent, in your opinion, if that makes any sense?
Key factors. I mean, when you're looking at brands, you want to know that the talent that you're presenting to the brand actually has a connection to the brand, right? That goes so far when you can actually share stories, right? He might be right for this brand because he loves this, this, and this. This is one of his favorite products. I think I'm hitting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's you want to be able to. It has to be a brand that you're excited about. I think it's a really great sort of way to approach brand sponsorships and partnering.
And so, like,
As opposed to just going blank and just throwing things out, right?
yeah. So, and are there any personal qualities like, well, I'm not on time. So I got to work on timeliness, right? But like, it could be timeliness. It could be, attention to detail. It could be their sense of like family, any values or anything that the audience can take away from. If you happen to be an influencer, thinking about what does it look like for myself to represent a brand one day, are there any other things that are top of mind?
Any things that are top of mind for an influencer wanting to represent brands? I think you should be focused on brands that you actually use, right? Everything that you've used, that you can speak to, that should be your hit list of what you tackle for the year. And every year that's going to change, so that list is going to expand. And I think that's the way to go, because it has to be authentic.
It has to be authentic. And so, speaking of authenticity, I'm going to ask you to do something in real time, which is take a look at someone's book and just give me some top notes, so we can see what an agent has his eyes on, or what you see. So guys, can we play? Can we queue up? Can we queue up? Can we queue up the portfolio? Do we have it? No. I think we're gonna. Yeah, let's do it.
And there you are.
So
Oluchi.
Oluchi. So
Where's Oluchi? Is she here? Okay. Okay.
Okay. You might want to come record for her if possible, if you know her. Can you see her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I'm looking at a book and I'm sitting with, we'll say, Oluchi for a review, I'm looking at the interface, obviously. I'm not really excited about images that are repeated with a different position. I think it's really important to have diversity in the book. I love that she has, she's doing the twist, she has the sculptural, she has the long Nikki hair. Can we switch to another slide?
Yeah.
And she's mixing it up, right? She's playful, but it also looks expensive. It looks like she's actually, put some time in, and the technique is there. That's what I'm looking for as an agent.
Is there any? Are we done with slides? I think so. Okay. So she has technical ability. You like that?
Diversity. Variety, I should say.
Variety.
She is, if you can do black hair, you can do all hair, I feel like.
Yes.
So you see that here in the book, and that's what I want to see. I want to know that she's able to, she can tackle it all, and she has the experience.
Okay. If someone doesn't have a book, can they shoot it themselves if they feel like they have an idea of how it can be shot, and send those in, or is it important to have only professional photos?
I mean, I think you have to do. Listen, you could be a great photographer. Everybody's a photographer now with Instagram, so yeah, you could shoot it yourself. It's hard sometimes. Is she? Hi, Oluchi. We're talking about you. It's hard sometimes because it's so important to have good hair, good makeup, good styling, and good photography, right? And you can see in Oluchi's book, she's made some really smart decisions, right? She has everything, from good styling, good makeup, good photography, and she's killing it with the hair. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me when I'm chatting with a talent that, I start to see everything looks good except for the makeup. She looks a mess, or everything looks good except for the styling, and I think you have to pay attention to all of those things. So yeah, you could shoot it yourself and do the hair and have your friend or someone come in and do the makeup and styling, but it all has to work together.
Yeah. So, and as a hairstylist, actually at the top of your game, do you see anything that rings true for you here?
I think for me, it's often about the photography. I feel like bad photography can kill everything. You could have the best makeup, styling, all of the things, but if the photography isn't on point, it's not going to be good.
Sure.
Oftentimes, I feel like when you're looking through a book, even if it's for a client, agencies, you're often as good as your worst work. People will see that
first.
Shoot and be like, oh, she thought
so
this was okay to put in here. That changes their perspective of your taste level.
Yes.
So be okay with editing out. Take some things out of the book. You don't have to be the jack of all trades and just throw everything you've ever done in there. Edit down to your best stuff.
Wow.
It's better to have like 5 really strong shoots than to have everything and it's not gonna hit the way you think it's hitting.
And less is more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really a fan of creating a book around more of a curated gallery. I don't have to see every single image from the story that you shot, right? You can pick the best images from each story and curate your own gallery in a way.
That's lovely. Guys, I want to see, is there anyone in the audience that has a question about age? Yes, hey, you already got it, boom, talk to me. A couple questions, please, yes.
So, hi sir, hi Naeemah. Hi. Oh, sorry, Roberto.
That's fine.
Hello. My name is Rachel Polycarp. I'm a freelance hairstylist in New York City. What I would like to know is that when you're engaging with agents, 2-part question for Naeemah and Roberto.
Humberto.
Humberto,
Humberto. Humberto.
Okay, sorry, because the name went off.
It's okay,
Sorry.
it's okay.
But when you're trying to engage with agents, one, what are some telltale things that let you know that this is someone you can trust? And then when you are possibly signed with them, what are some telltale signs that like they're not doing their job?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Good. You mind if I take it first?
Sure.
Yeah. I think that when you have an agent, you want to like them. There has to be an energy there, right? This is not like they're not the help. I'm not the help. I'm here advocating for you, So there needs to be a mutual respect, right? You're not calling me and like, why didn't you make that meeting? Well, why didn't you call me back when I called you yesterday, right? It's there has to be mutual respect. You have to like the person, because if I don't like you, I'm not going to push for you. Mm-hmm. Sadly, it's true, and it's going to be like that with a lot of agents. So if you get the vibe that your agent doesn't like you, they probably don't, and that might be why you're not getting any work. And you need to look around and see. There are other agents in the agency that you could consider moving into, or other agencies. I mean, it's really about just a vibe for me. I'm all about energy. So if I meet you and we get on really well, and then I see the work and the work is amazing, then it's a different kind of conversation we're having.
Humberto hit it on the head because, in talking to other artists who left an agency or don't like being where they are, it all boils down to, I didn't like him or her, or she didn't like me. Like, it's one or the other. That's what behind all the politics and jobs, et cetera, it boils down to the relationship. Like, did that even work? So I think going into an agency or partnering with an agent, you just have to make sure that it's not really about, can you trust them? First, like, can we like see eye to eye? Like, do we like each other? Can we talk on the phone? Can we interact and there not be like friction or energy? And like you said, like, you're not the help. And I think that is often misconstrued. I was talking to someone the other day about that, and they're like, I was asking her, what can she do for me? And it's like, might not want to do that at like, that's not how that works. Like, we're working together. It's a partnership.
It has to be 50-50.
Yeah.
And I like when my talent likes to go out, likes to be social, wants to be out in the mix. I don't know, it makes it easy, right? That's your job at the same time, right? To be sort of networking. The other side of that is me networking and me sending out, emails and marketing materials and making sure your book is up to date, And the other part of your question, I think, was when you're at an agency, how do you know if it's not working out? Is that what it was? I mean, obviously, if you're not getting work, but if you should be able to ask your agent where your book has been going, what options have been coming up. As soon as I get something in for Sir John, I let him know right away. Let's hold the time. This is coming up. These are the dates. This is the rate. And then, I let him know when it's confirmed or when it's released. But they should be able to give you a list of things, a list of where your book has gone and who they're talking to.
Now, I have a question. Is there a way to gracefully, let's say you do come into contact with the fact that, like you said, maybe you don't trust the agent or you don't like them or they don't like you. Is there a way to gracefully go from one agent to the next within that agency, or
That's
do you
tricky.
have to move?
That's tricky. So I think it's again about your network, right? No, you're on set every day, I imagine, with people from many agencies,
Right.
including your own. So, I get that conversation all the time. Oh, well, so-and-so said she didn't like this agent. She wanted to know if she could meet you. You know what I mean? And it gets tricky because, these agents that I work with, these are my brothers and sisters.
colleagues,
So
yeah.
I have to be very diplomatic in my approach.
Yeah. So, guys, that's all the time we have for this panel. This was Booked and Busy, What It Takes to Be Repped. Give it up for Humberto Petit, and give it up for Miss Naeemah Lafond.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure.